Good morning, session chair. Good morning, fellow scholars. I'm highly honored to be part of this presentation, and I hope it goes as we all expected in the right direction. Now, our presentation. We are presenting on the beauty of Islam and democracy in a secular society. And our presentation is going to be in a form of introduction, objective, and also methodology, and our discussions, conclusion, and recommendation. And first, we go to the introduction. In theory, religion and governance may be viewed as poles apart, but in reality, both of them are partners in social order and service to humanity. In contemporary society, democracy is, in many countries, is structured on secular models. Examples are the American presidential system and the British parliamentary democracy. However, religion still finds expression in the democratic dispensation in many countries. Statements such as, "In God we trust," on the American dollar, and "God bless our homeland Ghana," in the Ghanaian national anthem, are illustrations of symbiosis between religion and governance in established and emerging democracies. Now, let's move to our objective. We try to use Quranic text and Ahadith, that is the tradition of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to analyze this presentation or discussion, and to justify and promote the culture of democracy in all civilized societies. The objective is to showcase the healthy relationship between Islam and democracy as a catalyst for promotion of global peace and interfaith harmony. This brings us to our methodology. From the interpretive perspective, the paper uses a qualitative methodology to sample 10 respondents. Among these respondents are 5 religious scholars and 5 experts of democratic governance. The purposive sampling technique is adopted, and the idea of equal number of respondents from religion and secularism is to ensure balance and objectivity in the comparative discourse, to examine the position of democracy in Islam in the context of global stability. This brings us to our discussion, which is the main part of our presentation. As hinted in the introduction, this presentation is interdisciplinary in nature and comparative in approach. Essential areas of comparative analysis are 3 values that are common to Islam and democracy. And below are some of these values. And some of these values are liberty, and consultation, and justice. And now let's try to pick them one after the other. Now let's go to liberty, which is the cardinal value of democracy. The various definitions of democracy are enough to prove that liberty is indispensable in democratic governance. For instance, Abraham Lincoln stated that, or defined democracy as government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And this means that citizens are free to establish a government based on their convictions and interests. In other words, no form of compulsion is entertained in an orderly democratic state. And on the foundation of liberty, basic rights such as freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom of association, freedom of from persecution are built. Similarly, Islam endorses liberty as a value which is central to its moral, its legal and social system. The Quran is explicit to state that there is no compulsion in religion. That is in the Quran chapter 2, verse 255 to 256. And it is instructive to state that from the Islamic viewpoint, religion is not only a matter of worship, but also a way of life. Therefore, proper analysis of this verse reveals that in all aspects of life, compulsion is denounced and liberty glorified. Now, from liberty, we could realize that to get freedom of speech, there should be consultation to establish the rules to enjoy our freedom of speech. So this brings us to our next value of democracy. And that is another critical value of constitutional democracy. In fact, a fundamental organ of democracy is the consultation, the legislature. And in this point, legislature, like in the American system, which is Congress, in the British system, which is Parliament, and same in Ghana, which is also Parliament, and in the Nigeria, which is Senate, and just like that. So this is a form of legislature, to make it clear to our listeners and our viewers, which is fashioned out of the concept of consultation in Western democratic models. In similar manner, Islam also encourages consultation in the conduct of public affairs. Surely Allah commands Prophet Muhammad to consult his disciples, which he states in the Quran chapter 3 verse 159. He said, "And consult them in all affairs." It is significant to mention that the above verse starts with a clear distinction between mercy as an embodiment of democratic leadership of the Prophet and wickedness as an element of autocracy. The Prophet is then commanded to extend to his disciples other democratic values, which are leniency and forgiveness. We have a picture or a pictorial display to show our vice president of this country, that is Ghana, and the national chief imam, where the vice president is seeking the blessings from the national chief imam. This is to a form of trying to show democracy and Islam. And this brings us, when there is consultation, definitely, and everyone comes with their opinions, whatever comes out, this is a sign of a just leader. So this brings us to our next point, which is justice, and which is also a bedrock of democracy. Every sustainable democratic dispensation is built on justice and fair play. It is through justice that democratic freedoms and rights are balanced with civic responsibilities and obligations. In the same vein, Islam cherishes justice in all situations, at all times. Islam regards justice as the soul of social order and the body of human progress. The Quran clearly states in chapter 5, verse 8, where it says, "O ye who believe, stand out firmly for Allah as witnesses to fair dealing, and let not the hatred of others to you make you swerve to wrong and depart from justice." And it says, "Be just," which is a command that is next to piety, "and fear Allah, for Allah is well acquainted with all that ye do." It is instructive to state that all the above discussed values are impossible without safety and security. That is why Prophet Muhammad is reported to have described a proper Muslim as one from whose hand and tongue fellow Muslims and other people are saved. Simply, these prophetic words extol national security as a cornerstone of sound democratic governance. And this is another picture to show the national chief imam and one of our Supreme Court judge, to show how harmonized and how collaborative they are, even when they are about to bring out laws to govern our country. And with this, I think it's enough for us to get to our conclusion. And in the light of the above explanation, it becomes obvious that there is a significant, healthy relationship between Islam and democracy as partners in social order and stability. Proponents of jihadist mentality may find it difficult to accept this conclusion because of their misinterpretation of Quran and misunderstanding of democratic governance. That notwithstanding, sufficient evidence confirms that the link between Islam and democracy is globally productive if it is well handled. It is my recommendation to the interested nations to consider a hybrid version of democracy characterized by secular ideals and Islamic principles as part of efforts to ensure global peace and stability. Global peace, stability, and also development. Eminent scholars, I am thankful to you for listening and ready for your questions, comments, and suggestions to enhance the quality of this presentation. Thank you very much.